presentation.
Recording in progress.
Okay. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning from Taiwan. I'm your host and moderator of the panel, Flora Ko. Currently, I'm the Asian Girls Campaign Program Manager at the Garden of Hope Foundation in Taiwan. Our program works with girl advocates and also CSOs specializing in girls empowerment programs across Asia to bring light issues faced by girls in Asia. It is my great honor to present and share with everyone our wonderful partners today. A couple of important reminders before we start. Language. We value inclusion and diversity, and hence to bring a panel of Asian speakers here with us today, we're very pleased to be offering Thai interpretation channel and also English interpretation channel. Please pick the language of your choice with the globe icon at the bottom right corner. We encourage everyone to network and interact with each other during the panel, so please feel free to use comment section, and also if you have any questions directed for the panelists, please use our Q&A feature where we would go through a Q&A panel at the end. So our panel today builds on a great conversations from all these discussions that has been happening in the CSW 66 on the days before. And we realize that girls, they come with testimonies. For example, we learned that some of them go through really difficult situations such as child marriages, but we really don't need to hear these stories anymore. And that's why we need to bring these stories and compile them together and kind of show that on the international table that this is not a single girl's problem, but it is a global phenomenon. However, today in our panel, we'd really like to bring a different side of the story where we talk about girls who have great innovation, first-hand expert knowledge of their communities, and they're bringing solutions. Alongside girls, we also have CSO partners who are working with vulnerable girls that are supporting them with their causes and also supporting them with mental health, upskilling, financial literacy, and sometimes even childcare because girls sometimes may become young mothers. What brings these stories together is that these programs, they strive not only for the social impact, but also to generate income to fund and resource their programs. Encouragingly, we're also receiving warm welcome from our partners in the private sector, and they support these programs through mentorship, sometimes microfinance loans to grants to support initiatives. So the seemingly perfect solution of bringing together girls, CSOs, also private sector, seems like a perfect solution. However, there are still some certain gaps that could be filled, and that's where this discussion comes in. So today in our panel, we would like to talk a lot more about why the difficulties and the challenges of girls for being an entrepreneur, and also something that social enterprises all face in general is that the difficulty of balancing between income, revenues, but also the qualitative side of working with their communities, and how can that be shown in that and the impact and results for it to be appealing to the wider audiences. So we hope that today, this panel, we can bring partners, panelists, and audiences to talk about how we can come from different perspectives, but to all achieve sustainable development goals together. So before we begin, let me first introduce all of our panelists with us today. Firstly, we have our amazing Asian girl, Deepisha from Nepal. And we also have Siriwan from Thailand. We have our CSO representative, Zhi Hui from the Garden of Hope. And we have Sandeep representing SES from India. Last but not least, we have Ms. Jennifer Khan representing Standard Chartered. We also have invited Ms. Benita Karki from UNDP. However, unfortunately, she cannot attend our meeting today. So our panel will be, we'll start off with our panelists presenting their projects. Moving on, we'll go more into the panelist discussion, and lastly, we'll conclude with a Q&A session. All right, so without further ado, I would like to introduce our first panelist speaker, Siriwan Porin. She is our 2020 Asian Girl Human Rights Award recipient for her work on advocating the legalization of rainbow families in Thailand. Having worked with indigenous Karen communities, she realized that youth, and particularly LGBTQIA youth, are at the bottom of the social ladder who are most vulnerable to violence. So she formed a team with the local youth, the IY4SD, Indigenous Youth for Sustainable Development. Through the traditional knowledge of weaving, the team brought together their community while merchandising their products to sustain their causes. We're very honored to have Siriwan here with us today. Siriwan will be presenting in Thai with her mother, Matcha, consecutively translating for her into English. So please remain in your original language channel. Let's hear from Siriwan. The floor is yours.
เริ่มเลยค่ะชื่อสิวันพรอินทร์ค่ะเป็นยูทูตระดับเอเชียสาขาสิทธิมนุษยชนนะคะ I'm Siriwan Porn-in Asian Girl Award on Human Rights 2020 เป็นผู้ร่วมก่อตั้งโครงการองค์กร Indigenous Youth for Sustainable Development นะคะหรือเรียกสั้นๆว่า IY4SD I am a co-founder of an organization called Indigenous Youth for Sustainable Development or IY4SD เป็นเยาวชนที่อยู่ในครอบครัวสีรุ้งมีแม่2คนและเป็นเยาวชนที่มีความหลากหลายทางเพศเป็นอาสาสมัครขององค์กรสร้างสรรค์อนาคตเยาวชน I am growing up by nurture by two lesbian mothers as well as being LGBTIQ youth volunteer for an organization called สร้างสรรค์อนาคตเยาวชนและตอนนี้ก็เป็นผู้ประสานงานโครงการ We Are Rising ซึ่งได้รับทุนสนับสนุนจากGeneration Equality Girl Fund ค่ะ I am also a project coordinator with the project called We Are Rising funded by Generation Equality Girl Fund Next please บริบทของการทำงานของเรานะคะความเป็นมาของโครงการเราค่ะเริ่มจากบริบทของชุมชนหมู่บ้านแม่สำแลบค่ะ This is the context and also how our journey started You can look at this is the village that we are working for เป็นชุมชนที่ติดอยู่กับชายแดนไทยพม่าและได้รับผลกระทบจากสงครามมายาวนานกว่า70ปี This is แม่สำแลบ village is situated in the border between Thai and Myanmar. It faces an armed conflict for more than 70 years. เป็นชุมชนที่ตั้งอยู่ในเขตอุทยานด้วยค่ะLater, the national park established within this community. คนในชุมชนเป็นส่วนมากไร้สัญชาติและถูกจำกัดสิทธิต่างๆ Moreover, majority of this community being stateless. ด้วยบริบทของชุมชนทำให้ชุมชนนี้เป็นชุมชนที่มีความยากจนที่ซับซ้อน Therefore, this is how complexity of this community is also contributed to the extreme poverty. และปัญหาของชุมชนนะคะทวีความรุนแรงมากขึ้นในช่วงของโควิดค่ะ There is more problematic and also more difficulty especially during the time of COVID-19 pandemic จากงานวิจัยสตรีนิยมเชิงปฏิบัติการอย่างมีส่วนร่วมโควิดนะคะค้นพบว่า1ความอดอยากในชุมชนนั้นมีเพิ่มมากขึ้น We are now running the feminist participatory action research on COVID-19. We found first the poverty is more during the COVID-19 pandemic. 2นะคะความรุนแรงในครอบครัวนั้นมีเพิ่มมากขึ้น
increasing violation within the family, so-called domestic violence and also gender-based violence.
ซึ่งคนที่รับผลกระทบมากที่สุดคือผู้หญิงเด็กและ LGBTIQ ค่ะ
is the most impact to women, children, especially girl and also LGBTIQ children and young people.
Next please ค่ะเยาวชนชนเผ่าพื้นเมืองนะที่มีความหลากหลายทางเพศและกลุ่มผู้หญิงชนเผ่าพื้นเมืองที่ไร้สัญชาติได้รวมกลุ่มกันค่ะ
Therefore, we are come together indigenous young people who are LGBTIQ and stateless indigenous women.
เราได้ไปประชุมปรึกษาหารือเพื่อหาทางออกจากปัญหาความยากจนนี้ค่ะ
We are come together and try to find the solution to get out of the poverty.
ซึ่งเราได้รวมกันนะคะคิดว่าเราจะทำธุรกิจเพื่อขอให้ค่ะธุรกิจผ้าทอกะเหรี่ยงสีรุ้งค่ะ
We overcome one business so-called indigenous weaving with the rainbow color.
แล้วแต่ว่าเราไม่สามารถทำโครงการได้เพราะเนื่องจากเราไม่มีต้นทุนในการเริ่มทำธุรกิจค่ะ
However, we don't have the resource to start our projects.
Next please เยาวชนค่ะจึงได้รวมกันเขียนโครงการเพื่อที่จะส่งเข้าร่วมประกวด Youth Collab ปี 2020 ค่ะ
Our youth group come together, draft the proposal, and submit the proposal to fight the Youth Collab in 2020, hosted by UNDP Thailand.
ซึ่งตอนนั้นก็ได้รับคัดเลือกให้เป็น10ทีมจากทั่วประเทศนะคะได้เข้าไปเรียนรู้กระบวนการแนวคิดธุรกิจเพื่อสังคมค่ะ
We are one of those 10 who got to access to learning about business model.
และได้เป็น1ใน2โครงการค่ะที่ชนะเลิศและได้รับทุนสนับสนุน 100,000 บาทค่ะ
Finally, we are one of the 2 groups that granted fund about 100,000 baht to start our business model.
Next please กระบวนการทำโครงการของเรานะคะเราเริ่มจากข้อที่1เราเสริมศักยภาพผู้หญิงและเยาวชนให้เข้าใจสิทธิมีความเป็นผู้นำและมีความรู้ธุรกิจเพื่อสังคมค่ะ
This is how we are start our journey. The process started from empower indigenous women who are stateless as young LGBTIQ who are being indigenous from that communities.
ซึ่งมีผู้หญิงที่เข้าร่วมกระบวนการ40คนและเยาวชนเข้าร่วมที่5คนค่ะ
We empower 40 indigenous women and also we have 5 indigenous LGBTIQ who involved with this project.
มีกลุ่มผู้หญิงและเยาวชนนะคะสนใจเข้าร่วมโครงการของเราอยู่5คนอยู่15คนค่ะ
Finally, who come to this project which is led the business by women and LGBTIQ, we have 15 people in total.
Next please กระบวนการที่2ของเราการศึกษาดูงานค่ะเราให้
The second process, we are visit an organization who are successfully in the business model.
เนื่องจากกลุ่มผู้หญิงนะคะไม่สามารถเดินทางได้เราเยาวชนค่ะจึงได้ศึกษาดูงานซึ่งได้รับการสนับสนุนจากเชโมวาด้วยค่ะ
As our indigenous women stateless, there are restrictions. They are unable to travel with us. Therefore, we went to the Chemuwa, an organization who support us to learn about the process of running the business.
Next, please. ในกระบวนการนี้นะคะเราได้ศึกษาดูงานตั้งแต่การทำได้การย้อมสีธรรมชาติการผลิตและการขายค่ะ
During our learning journey, we learn what is the quality of cotton. We learn about weaving. We also learning about how to sell our products.
และเราก็ได้กลับมาสอนให้กับผู้หญิงในชุมชนให้เข้าใจกระบวนการผลิตทุกขั้นตอนค่ะ
After that, we return to our community and share knowledge and experience with them.
Next, please. ในกระบวนการที่3คือการออกแบบการพัฒนาและการผลิตสินค้านะคะ
Third is about designing, produce, and also development our products.
ค่ะในช่วงแรกผู้หญิงยังไม่มีความมั่นใจและสินค้าฝีมือยังไม่มีความคงที่นะคะ
In the beginning of the process, our women do not confident with their skill because their lab is so long.
แต่ด้วยการที่เยาวชนและกลุ่มผู้หญิงได้ร่วมมือกันพัฒนาสินค้าและเสริมพลังอำนาจให้แก่กันทำให้สินค้านั้นมี ฝีมือที่คนที่มากขึ้นค่ะ
But after that, as because of women and youth together, we are support each other, we learning from each other. Therefore, our product was now developed and have a quality.
อย่างในภาพนี้นะคะเราจะเห็นการรวมกลุ่มกันของผู้หญิงค่ะ
So you can see the women come together and working.
Next please และนี่นะคะคือการผ้าทอกระเหลี่ยงสีรุ้งของเราที่เรามีทั้งการตัดเย็บแบบดั้งเดิมและแบบประยุกต์ค่ะ
This is our products that have two styles. One is a traditional one, the current traditional indigenous textile. And the second one is more likely to model style.
Next please กระบวนการที่3คือกระบวนการที่4คือการตลาดของเรานะคะเนื่องจากเราไม่สามารถขายพื้นที่ออฟไลน์ได้เพราะว่าเนื่องจากสถานการณ์โควิดค่ะ
And now we are talking about the fourth stage, how we can sell it. As you know, offline platform is impossible because of the COVID-19 impact.
เราจึงได้ขายพื้นที่ออนไลน์นะคะซึ่งพื้นที่ที่เราขายคือสร้างสรรค์อนาคตเยาวชนค่ะ
Therefore, we selling online with the สร้างสรรค์ Facebook page.
เราได้มีการโปรโมทสินค้าโดยการใช้วิดีโอค่ะอย่างที่เห็นในภาพนี้
We promote our product by use the video and then share in our Facebook page.
Next please และนี่ค่ะคือการขายงานสัมมนานะคะและการไลฟ์สดค่ะ
We also choose some important days and we are host the fashion show and selling it products.
Next please ความสำเร็จของโครงการนี้นะคะคือ1การเกิดการรวมกลุ่มกันของกลุ่มผู้หญิงและเยาวชนมีความเป็นผู้นำร่วมและเกื้อกูลช่วยเหลือกันค่ะ
Our success story and our achievement, one woman and children come together, they are empowered.
Next please 2ผู้หญิงมีรายได้และส่งเสริมการศึกษาให้กับลูกค่ะ
Women had income in their hand and therefore they are possible to support their children education.
Next please 3เป็นการรื้อฟื้นวัฒนธรรมการทอผ้าและการสืบสานวัฒนธรรมการทอผ้า
Third is also the way how they preserve their heritage in terms of indigenous textiles.
Next please 4เราได้ใช้ความรู้และประสบการณ์ของโครงการนี้มารณรงค์ทั้งในระดับชุมชนระดับประเทศและระดับนานาชาติ
Most importantly, we have the experience based on this project. We use our story and experience to share and advocate nationally and also globally.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next slide, please. Okay. We are complete our presentation. We don't hear you sorry.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing, Siriwan. I always love hearing from your stories. But next up, we would like to invite Ms. Depisha Bruzel. Depisha is the 2021 Asian Girl Social Innovation Award recipient for the Current Menstruation Project, where she leads under the German Nepali nonprofit startup Nidisi. The project aims to develop and produce biodegradable menstrual pads from Nepalese local resources and distribute them in Nepal. So without further ado, let's please welcome Ms. Depisha Bruzel.
Thank you, Flora, and hello, everyone. So, yeah, I'm glad to be here, and so I will start my presentation right now. So, as Flora already said, that I am working in the menstruation project as a coordinator, and like it's a German Nepalese organization named Nidisi. So we all believe that humanity can do better, and all our projects are giving the solutions that are needed for the present world. And with this, I would like to move to the next slide. So why we have this project is that because of because we want to solve the situation of women in Nepal, because a lot of women in Nepal, when they are menstruating, they have to go through various restrictive practices where they are seen as impure, dirty, and feel ashamed. So there are so many restrictions imposed on menstruators. For example, they are not allowed to enter the kitchen, touch the sources of water, and they are not even allowed to partake in religious ceremonies. So and this is one part of the problem that is existing here. And another one is the menstrual pad market. So we can see that 50% of Nepalese women are only 15% of Nepalese women are using menstrual product, and beside them, all of them are using unhealthy methods of managing their periods. And the main problem is that 70% of the pads that are used are imported from India, and others are from China, and there is really less production of menstrual pad, which is leading like Nepalese economy on this part as well to depend highly in the neighboring country. And with this regard, another point is that compostable pads are almost inexistent on the market. So sticks, and that too adding the problem of plastic pollution.
You're a little inaudible. Deepisha?
Yes, I am there. I think I have a connection problem. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, but I cannot see the slide. Okay. Yeah, the next one. Yeah, this. So with our project, we want to encourage women to feel comfortable with their nature, because as I already mentioned that there are a lot of restrictions imposed on women where they are dirty about their nature. All reduce the discrimination and social
Deepisha?
So we want to produce affordable. Yes.
If you can turn off your virtual background, that might make the connection a little easier. It might be taking too much space.
Okay. Sorry for that.
No worries. Sorry about it. Thank you.
Is it clear now?
Yes, you're very audible.
Okay. So next slide, please. So what is our idea about this social businesses that we want to produce as affordable and accessible and biodegradable menstrual pads? So our idea is to have banana fiber as our main raw material. So you can see that we are like using the non-woven cotton as our first layer, and the banana fiber as the observant layer, and then the cornstarch bioplastic, which will be waterproof and avoidance of the leakage. So this is our idea of having the pad, which will be a good retention quality. Next slide, please. And how Spurso would work is with this model. So as you can see that our idea is to first have the banana fiber factory, where we will be processing the banana tree from which we will get the fiber as our raw material. And then from there, we will be producing and manufacturing our menstrual pad in the menstrual pad factory. And then we will have our pad, Spurso pad, from which we will earn revenue. So we will be selling our pads in both remote and urban areas. So all the revenue collected through this non-profit company would be used inside the company. Like, for example, most of the revenue which we will be collecting from the social business will be used for women's rights advocacy and promotion of the awareness campaign on MHM. So this is our model, and through this we want to empower women not only by selling the pads but also by empowering them through education on menstruation. Next slide, please. So this is the impact of our project. Like, we have multidimensional impact. So you can see that, first of all, it is empowerment. So because our pads will be made by women, like why I say it woman is that most of the people working in our company would be women, from employees to the board of directors. So it would be by women and for women, and this will help women to achieve economic independence. And then we will be raising awareness for menstrual health and fighting for women's health issues. And because we are also promoting education, so it will also have educational benefit. And there is another impact is like sustainability. So as our pads would be 100% compostable, so it will be creating value out of local agricultural waste, like the banana trunk, which is considered as an agricultural waste and thrown in the field just to decay, would be used as our main raw material. So we are creating value out of waste. And most importantly, we will be reducing a lot of plastic waste, because of course it's not good to shame women for using the choice of their menstrual product, but we cannot deny the fact that a lot of the menstrual pads come with plastics, and which are eventually ending up in the landfills. So we will be working to reduce that. And then there is the economic part, where we would be helping our country to gain good skill, like independence, because as I already told you that our country, in regards of sanitary pads as well, are highly dependent on the neighbor countries. So with this social business, I think we will also empower, like encourage other people to be to have more of such business model. And then we would be strengthening the local economy. And because we are designing our own machines and producing our own raw materials, so we will be independent social business with a good scalability, means that we can scale in a good way. So this is our multidimensional impact. And can you move to the next slide? So what did we achieve so far? So we started our project 2 years ago, and even though there was the pandemic which impacted our project in a way which impacted our project a lot, but we could still achieve a lot of things. So like, we could design and construct our banana fiber extractor, and we made 5 versions of our prototype of the pads. And we also did retention test of our pads by partnering with the French university, and we also collaborated with paper maker in Berlin to continue prototyping in Berlin. And with our webinars, like, we reached a lot of people. So it was one of the huge milestones of our project, that we could educate so many people. Like, we could reach more than 6,000 people with our online webinars and workshops. And then we also did awareness campaigns, in-person awareness campaigns, and also we collaborated with Nepalese artists to build the logo and packaging of our pads. And then we also did a little survey with 200 participants. And right now we are doing a research to understand the situation of menstruation and accessibility of menstrual product in Nepal, which will be one of the biggest survey that happened in Nepal in this topic. So right now, we finished our survey, and we have 840 data with us collected through in-person interviews, and we went to most of the districts. So yeah, so that's all about what we achieved far. And next slide, please. So as you can see that I already told you about the research. So this data is it was from 1 week ago. So this week we already finished the survey. So it's now 840 data collected so far with 14 districts of Nepal. And next slide, please. So far challenges encounters are like age stereotypes. Because of age stereotypes, we feel that most of the times we are not taken seriously because we are young, and we need to prove that we are worth their support, like to stakeholders, to different partner organization. And pandemic, like pandemic slowed down our project, and then travel restrictions made it hard for volunteers to come to Nepal and to contribute something to the project. And a lot of businesses stopped working, so we lost our suppliers and partners. And from a business point of view, like it's quite difficult to create our own place among the profit-oriented multinational and big Nepalese company. And then because of Nepal's road infrastructure and geography, it is quite difficult for us to reach to the remote places. And these are the places where pads are the most needed. And then decrease in banana production due to climate change, because as I said that our raw material would be banana fiber. So because of climate change, like flood, irregular rainfall, if the production would be low, then our raw materials will be low, which will impact our project highly. Next slide, please. So even though there are so many challenges, but because our team is young and motivated, and we hope that like we will tackle all these things with our research and the help through our partners, and I think it's doable. And to save a healthy future together, so we have to collaborate with each other. And yeah, so because humanity can do better. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Deepisha. As always, I learned so much from you and the project that you're doing. And for anyone who is interested in following Deepisha and Nadisi's journey with the research, she actually posts stories of their research every day. So that would be really exciting if anyone wants to follow that journey. And so thank you for our amazing Asian girls who are sharing with us today, who have been sharing with us today. Next up, we would like to invite CSO partners who have been working with young girls. Sometimes some of them are in very vulnerable situations, to help them stand up on their feet, to help them with their mental health, but then also to support them with finding an interest and upskilling, gaining a job, or sometimes to encourage them to start a business of their own. As of now, I would like to introduce our next panelist and friendly ally in Supporting Girls Initiative, Mr. Sandeep, working from SES in India. They work with wide areas of issues, from safe local drinking water to agriculture, health, education, and also gender equality programs. We have much to learn from them, especially considering that India is one of the most experienced regions in implementing microfinance programs. We're excited to learn from Sandeep and how SES supports girls, particularly through the poultry project Smriti. The floor is yours, Sandeep.
Thank you, Flora. Thank you for inviting me. And I would also like to thank Garden of Hope Foundation who invited me to this CSW 66. I would like to tell about our organization. Please, next slide. Our organization is Shohratgarh Environmental Society, and it was started in 1985. Shohratgarh is a small town in Siddharthnagar district in Uttar Pradesh. And Siddharthnagar is named at the name of the Lord Gautam Buddha. It was supposed that he was born in Siddharthnagar. And our organization work on various issues. We think every issues are connected to each other, whether we talk about education, health, sustainable livelihood, water, sanitation, hygiene, and environment. And the target group we are working are vulnerable population, especially poor girls, women, child, adolescent, and youth. Our organization has received the consultative status with Economic and Social Council of UN in 2011, and we just received support from Grow Fund. We are supported. We are one of the 100 organizations in India who applied for the application for sustainable development and organization development. And the place we are working is very backward in terms of social and economic indicators. It is quite low in comparison to the state as well as the country. But the mission of our organization is to promote sustainable development goals in all of our projects. We aim to mitigate, build resilience to flood, as the most of the area are flood prone area where we working, to increase food security, promoting education, improving health, water, sanitation, and hygiene through empowering and advocating for the community member. And the vision of our organization for a society where we can achieve personal happiness and well-being. Throughout the, please next slide. Throughout the world, rural females are involved extensively in agriculture activities, and they are the most important segment of human resources. If we talk in context of India, in rural India, there is a lot of migration, and male counterparts generally move to the cities for the better livelihood, and females are engaged in the agriculture activities and all those things. And they have a close relationship. There is close relationship between the status of women and social economic development of any country, whether it is India, Nepal, or any other country. If I say our organization believe that the backyard poultry and goatry can be a key drivers in social and economic empowerment of the rural females, the girls and the women. And SES started the Samriddhi project in 2 years back. And Samriddhi means progress, progress together, and in Hindi language. And the prime objective of the program was to provide assistance and know-how to 450 girls and women in Siddharthnagar district to launch successfully run a poultry farming business for a better economic opportunities, and which can help them economically and socially, and can address the issue of food and the malnutrition. We have started working with the 450 young girls, women, and the specific objective of the program will increase the income of these participants, the girls and the women, between $30 to $100. Increase the protein consumption, as we know ki there are good percentage of females who are anemic. So we focus on the protein consumption also through the meat consumptions. And we also look them to be financially literate and want them to be independent economically. And we also tried to strengthen their existing self-help group. We had 34 self-help groups. So we work with them, and also we tried that they can have good savings in their SHGs and in their bank accounts. Please next slide. So these were the specific objective I talk about. Please next slide. Next slide. This is the operational area where we work. This is the program activity, SHG group activities, where we discuss a lot of social issues with the girls and the women, whether it is water sanitation, whether it is saving. Please next slide. As I talk about the nutrition, malnutrition, and anemia. So there is a village level committee, village health sanitation and nutrition committee. On the paper, there were a lot of VHS SNC, we call it in short, and but they were not activated. So we activated those VHSNC in 34 villages where we worked. Please next slide. We have also collaborated with one of the biggest software company, that is Tata Consultancy Services, for adult literacy session. There are the women who were not literate, so they have software programs where they have several lessons over the period of time, and they learn how to write, how to calculate, and all those things. Please next slide. As Flora talked that financial independence, so we tried them to connect with the government schemes. When we started, the women don't have the bank accounts actually, and when we completed last 2 years, they have 429 women out of 450 who have bank accounts. They have benefited from the Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana. 264 girls, women and girls who have benefited from that scheme. The 290 participants, target groups were connected with the Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana, that is an insurance program from the government. And Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Yojana, to 294 females were connected with that program. So we have tried to connect with them with the government schemes, so they can work accordingly. Next, please. So over the period of 3 years, we work, and they have started the poultry program, and they sold about 56,45,200 rupees of poultry, which comes around $75,269, and the profit were 44,42,828 rupees. That comes around the $59,000 approx, and they have saved 10 lakh rupees in the banks. That comes around the $14,296, and the SSG savings were 8,58,000 rupees, and it comes around to 11,442 rupees. So with this project, it is a proven model, and with this product, we realize that women in the poultry is a key driver for a sustainable development, even the agriculture development. It not only improves food security, nutrition, and healthy diets, but also promotes economic growth of the female participant, animal health, and also address the environmental issues. So these are the issues we pertain to solve, because the women's were not literate, as I told you earlier. They can't do a big business, but collectively they came together, and they profit comes around 45,000 rupees. So that was very commendable from that side. That is from my side. Next, please. I think there is one slide also. This is the last slide. Okay. So this is from my side. I have heard the Shirveen and Dipisa, both girls, and they are doing wonderful, I think. And we can learn from each other. They are doing on menstruation, and they are doing the business. So we can learn from each other, and we can implement in the local context. Thank you from my side for listening me. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Sandy. It's really helpful that you also bring into context of why poultry and agriculture is important for women in India. As you mentioned, male usually move to the city, so agriculture is something that it's important for the economy of women as well. Thank you so much for your sharing. So next up, we were very proud to present Ms. Zhihui Yang, representing the Kaohsiung branch office from the Garden of Hope. Through our organization's decades of working with misfortune girls, some who have experienced sexual abuse while others may have been displaced, we have integrated sheltering with professional counseling and supporting girls to explore interests, career paths, and creating girls-friendly bases for girls to be mindful of giving back to their communities while gaining work experiences. Ms. Yang will be presenting in Mandarin. If you're an English listener, please choose English as your preferred channel via the globe icon. Please welcome Ms. Zhihui Yang.
Thank you for your invitation. And thank you for the previous 3 speakers. And I'm very happy and very honored to be able to represent the Garden of Hope to share our experiences of girls' empowerment in the daily rituals. It's not just a one-sided training, but it's a very comprehensive training. Just like our host said, we have many girls who have been abused or displaced, and we protect them by placing them into our shelters. So their accommodation range from 1 to 3 months to up to 5 to 6 years, or until they are reach the age of majority. So the average length of stay is 2 years. So inside the shelter, during my experiences working with them, we realized that because they had very difficult childhood, those childhood has great impact on their lives. So when they leave the shelters, they are not able to get stable jobs and housing, and they are not able to live independently. So we actually try to arrange different programs for them in shelters so they can get back of the life skills in the shelters to share their own feelings and needs in the programs. You can see these are some of the daily lives. And for those girls, when they are in just regular school programs, they are not able to get good scores, and they sometimes be eliminated because of they will not have good results in study. But we realize that they actually are very rich in emotion and they have very rich life experiences. So it's more suitable for them to have experiential programs. So we provide a series of non-judgmental and non-regulated art experiential programs for them. For example, like theaters, mosaic, dance, pottery, and drawing, so that we can reach their lives. And art experiential activities are actually a way for the girls to enhance their skills in different aspects of lives. And art can trigger their learning interests. And after one stage of the program ends, we will invite them to present their results of learning. Sometimes we will organize a theater performance, or sometimes it's a showcase of their works. Sometimes it's just organize a market to sell their art crafts. And then through these art experiential activities, their abilities can be shown, and they can have a sense of achievement during their learnings to nurture a spirit of not giving up. And so the Garden of Hope, from the angle of art treatment, we lead our girls to experience theaters and body development, painting, and multimedia art creations. And when they are doing these activities, they will face directly their own thoughts and their own feelings, and they will not be judged. So there will be an accumulation of positive experiences, so they will grow positive self-esteem as well. And then we actually found that those girls mostly have like sexual abuse, or they have been abused before, so they tend to be more hold back with their bodies. So through outdoor activities like boxing and bowls, so they will have an opportunity to find back their power of body. So also through the outdoor adventurous experiential activities and city visits, we can broaden their horizon and increase their ability to move around and to actually empower them with teamwork and self-control ability. And by experiencing certain culture, they are able to care more about their surroundings and think about their own relationships with their culture. And next. So for girls between 15 to 18 years old, we will provide them with a series of career experiential programs. Currently, we have provided like professional drilling, plumbing, woodwork, floral arrangements, catering, baking, and makeup programs. And those girls, they can join this program and learn for a period of time and to interact with the teachers, the craftsmen. So during this process, they will understand their interests and their abilities. And during this interaction with the craftsmen, they will learn from the teachers regarding the life experience of entrepreneurship, and they will realize that it's difficult there are difficulties for each different career pathways, and they will understand the importance of nurture their own abilities. And also, we will provide vocational training for them. And we have this program that's been running for 2 years. It's called Perfect Girls Bridal Makeup Artist Professional Training. And in this program, there will be 1 year for them to learn basic courses, such as the skills learning, and we will provide them an opportunity to show their results, and we will train them to get certificates. And during this process, we actually see the girls' power. So this year, this bridal makeup professional training result exhibition, we actually cooperated with a disabled women organization. So we actually provided bridal makeup for those disabled women so that girls will think that they have the ability to let others become very beautiful, and that's a way to showcase their skills. And from these empowerment, we actually see that girls need more opportunities and more environment for them to show their power, to show their strength. And this, we actually will transfer their focus from being abused in the past to being able to showcase one's own strength. So next year, this year actually, we will have a second choice, and this is a second-hand clothing shop. And we will invite our girls to actually join this program and to run these clothes. And this is actually a platform for them to show their power. They will learn about those pricings, the clothes materials and patterns, and how to sell them. They will learn how to do e-commercing, and they will learn how to match styles of outfits and to show that dressing is actually part of life aesthetics, so that by doing so, we can enrich the life of society, and we can show our girls' ability, and our girls can actually leave our protection system and grow independent abilities. And this center, we call it the second choice. The meaning of the shop name is that there is always a second choice whenever one may be. And empowering is a process of learning to examine oneself with new perspectives, rebuilding relationships with others, and regaining the capacities to make decisions in our lives. And I think this is a project that needs an interdisciplinary work team. And this design of activities actually need to consider whether or not the girls can learn things. So the staff needs to be, the team needs to be passionate enough. They need to be able to learn with the girls together and to create opportunities to link the girls and the community together. And this is the program that we are promoting this year. And we hope that by doing so, our community can see the girls' power, and the girls can actually connect with the society so that they will not feel helpless because they are protected. They will be able to independently living in society. So we really need your help to work together with us.
I'm so excited for the Second Choice project, and I love the idea of how it, wherever you are, whoever you are, you always have the second choice to be a better version of our own selves. Thank you so much for your sharing. So having heard from our amazing Asian girls and our wonderful CSO partners that are working to support girls, lastly, I would like to invite Ms. Jennifer Kang, representing the private sector. She's the head of corporate affairs, brand and marketing at Standard Chartered Bank in Taiwan. Future Makers is their global initiative to tackle inequality by promoting greater economic inclusion in the markets. Future Makers supports disadvantaged young people, especially girls and people with visual impairments, to learn new skills and improve their chances of getting a job or starting their own business. In 2021, Future Makers program reached more than 304,000 young people and more than 671 young people between 2019 and 2021 across 41 markets. We're very pleased to welcome Ms. Kang to share more about how young people could engage with your wonderful opportunity. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. And it's just wonderful to hear all the inspiring stories, especially from the girl entrepreneurs. I think they're doing such a fabulous job. And I do want to buy one of those rainbow outfits myself. So my name is Jennifer. I work for Standard Chartered. I've been with Standard Chartered for 14 years. And one of the things that keeps me motivated is being able to be part of the many programs, global programs that we run across the bank that really does bring huge impact to the people that we touch across the world. So let's go to our first slide. So over the years, we have had many programs designed around the community. So back from in 1999, with our positive living campaign around living with HIV, all the way to today, where we have our global Future Makers program. And some of the impacts are really great. For example, Seeing is Believing, where we raised over $100 million and reached over more than 250 million people. Next, please. So why do we do this? So really around the world, the social and economic inequality and the growing income gap within and between countries is a shared challenge across our markets. And COVID-19 has made this worse. And the pandemic's impact is the largest for the world's poorest. About 97 million more people are living on less than $1.90 a day because of the pandemic. And by 2030, it's estimated that 1% of the world's wealth will be held by 2/3. 1% of the world's wealth will be owned by 2/3 of people. So we believe that social and economic inclusion leads to more prosperous and sustainable communities. And Future Makers is one of the ways where Standard Chartered aims to tackle inequality and promote greater economic inclusion across our markets for the disadvantaged young people in our communities. We go to the next slide, thank you. So the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development notes that an inclusive economy ensures that anyone, regardless of their gender, regardless of their place of birth, family background, age, or other circumstances can access labor markets, entrepreneurship, and more generally, economic opportunity. Social and economic inequality limits individual and collective potential, stifling growth and creating disharmony. So it significantly affects disadvantaged young people who cannot access the skills and opportunities needed to close the income gap. Globally, more than 200 million people are either unemployed or have jobs, but continue to live in poverty due to low income. Next, please. So Future Makers, what does it do? It supports young people from low-income households, particularly girls and people with visual impairments, through community programs that focus on education, employability, and entrepreneurship. We call it the 3 E's. And between 2019 and 2021, Flora did say this before, that we contributed over $64 million to Future Makers programs and reached more than 671,000 young people across our 41 markets. And this is important because we believe that by supporting young people, we can really help to have a positive impact on the economy and the world. Next, please. So how do we do this? So we do this through our foundation, Standard Chartered Foundation. So funds raised for Future Makers support the Standard Chartered Foundation. And Standard Chartered Foundation, in turn, focus on tackling inequality by promoting greater economic inclusion for disadvantaged young people from low-income households, particularly girls and people with visual impairments. Next, please. So Standard Chartered Foundation is our lead partner in delivering our Future Makers projects, and all funds raised for Future Makers by Standard Chartered will be matched by Standard Chartered up to a limit of $5 million a year. Okay, so let's go to the next slide to see how we deliver on some of these programs. Next slide, please. So we deliver on Future Makers through 4 community programs. And the first of these is Go. Go is an amazing program. Go is a program that helps develop young girls through sport. So it's really fun. It focuses on teamwork. It focuses on financial education, communication, health, and hygiene and confidence. The last market I worked at Standard Chartered was Malaysia. And it's amazing to see the success stories coming from the girls that have gone through this program. Some of their stories are really real. Some of them are really quite sad, but it's what comes out after they've gone through the program. So we did have one of the girls that lived in the city. So she lived really, with full sight of the Petronas Twin Towers, and her dream was to be a singer. But then she felt like she couldn't do this because her mother had 6 other children and was the sole breadwinner. So she felt like after school, the only choice she had was to actually stay at home and help her mother and go to work and get married. So therefore, her mother had one less mouth to feed. But after the Go program, she then discovered that, hey, actually, I can do it more. I can be my person. I can achieve my dream and still help contribute to my family. So that's the power of Go. Next, please. The other way we do this is another employability program called Youth to Work. And Youth to Work creates opportunities to support young people to become job ready. And our aim is to reach 100,000 young people, supporting at least 20,000 of these young people into work by 2023. Next, please. Another one we have is Entrepreneurs for Growth. And this one builds on our existing financial education training for entrepreneurs. Our aim is to reach 50,000 young people and small businesses with training, capacity building, and financing by 2023. At the end of 2021, we exceeded our aim and reached more than 60,000 young people. We also have another program as an extension, which builds on the existing financial education training for entrepreneurs, and that's called Women in Technology. And it's really an incubator program that supports female-led entrepreneurial teams with business management training, mentoring, and seed funding. Next, please. So let's not forget why we do Future Makers. It really is around the impact we make across our markets. And we have seen success around this. And we're going to take you to meet some of our Future Makers. Next, please. So here's some work that we've done in Taiwan. In October 2019, we conducted a large-scale survey of general youth and less advantaged youth to understand their needs and ideas for careers in Taiwan. More than 32% of visually impaired youth in Taiwan and 39% of disadvantaged youth from middle or low-income households wish to have equal opportunities to become economically independent and have better chances to enter university and learn interpersonal skills and be ready for the workforce. So meet Jane. Jane is a devoted young mother of 2 daughters. She raised them alone. She's a single mother since her divorce, and then has been juggling part-time jobs, poorly paid jobs as a housekeeper in order to actually keep her family going, to do the school runs, to take care of her kids, right? They always say a mother's work is never done. A mother's day is never done. After Jane joined the Garden of Hope Foundation's housekeeping and digital marketing training course, she regained confidence and enhanced her skills. Today, Jane has gotten together a group of other small house cleaning business friends, colleagues, her classmates, and they've applied the knowledge that they've learned through digital marketing. They've brought that platform online to be able to scale up their business and increase what they do and really grow their business. So that's really a great story of how our program works to help people scale. The next story is around, next slide, please. The next story is about a young gentleman called Rending. Rending actually lost his sight at the age of 15. And his dream back then was to become a psychological counselor to assist disadvantaged youth to become more confident and to overcome the challenges in life. But having lost his sight, he found it really tough to keep up with schoolwork, and then he became quite worried that he wouldn't be able to get into university and achieve his dream. So another one of our Future Makers program here in Taiwan is to offer extra tutoring classes to prepare people like Rending for the university entrance exams. And after going through that, delighted to say that Rending actually got into his dream college. So well done to him, and we look forward to having him join the workforce and contribute to those who are also challenged and need inspiration. And the following slide, which is the last slide. So we have many, many, many Future Maker stories. Please go onto our website, www.sc.com. And if you go under sustainability and communities, you can read more about our Future Makers and hear fabulous, inspiring stories about people like Cheating, who is, who's disabled, but is a swimming coach, Alex and Angie. So please do go on and have a look. Thank you so much for letting me share today. And I look forward to the panel. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jennifer. I think the stories does really make everything seem so personal, and it just how I think it's very encouraging as an NGO to learn that also in the private sector, you're doing so much and also doing your own research to understand about Taiwanese youth's need. That's just so encouraging. So lastly, before we move on to the panel discussion, we have Ms. Benita Karki, the Youth Program Officer at UNDP Nepal. Unfortunately, she's unable to join us today, but she has kindly presented her video of her working in the field of youth leadership and empowerment for the last 8 years. And through her capacity at UNDP Nepal, she has been promoting youth mainstreaming while liaising with CSOs, institutions locally and internationally via innumerable engagements. So without further ado, please let's have Ms. Benita.
Hello and namaste from Nepal. My name is Benita Karki and I work as the Youth Program Officer in UNDP Nepal. I'm very pleased to be a part of this CSW 66 forum and this roundtable discussion on the topic Girls-Centered Social Entrepreneurial Business Models. I'll be talking about some initiatives led by UNDP in Nepal. Due to unforeseen circumstances, I couldn't join this forum in person, I mean in live, so that I'm sharing this recorded video for your information. And I hope I get to connect it with this audience and everyone later in some other events. And I'd like to thank the organizing team for having me in this great forum, and I apologize for not being able to attend the live program. So yeah, I'd like to share a very short presentation on the topic. As UNDP is always keen to bring inclusion in all kind of activities we do, and we do have youth mainstreaming as an integrated approach that in all of the interventions that UNDP does, we ensure that youth are mainstream there, and the inclusivity, gender and social inclusion are ensured in the activities we do. So one of the major activities that we did in 2017 is this Sachetana, Our Health, Our Responsibilities. And this program had 300 volunteers from all districts of Nepal who were mobilized for awareness on healthcare waste management. And we ensured 55% women participation here. And we did also have cleanup campaign in major 7 cities of Nepal to raise awareness to the people that they should take care of their cities. And we did have other creative challenges such as TikTok challenge and social media posts. And we did have the 6 million reach out of this program. We are also focused on mental health awareness, and as this COVID had led to the mental stress and mental health problem to especially young people, UNDP led a couple of campaigns on that, and one of the major campaigns was on promoting mental well-being through podcast sharing. And this was a month program where we connected young people to the experts so that they would be able to take care of their mental health and support their peers and friends in the need. Meanwhile, we also had this cultural exchange and knowledge exchange program among the youth of Nepal and Thailand. When that COVID outbreak was there, we thought that the youth from different countries led different campaigns and initiatives, and we chose different topic for that. And we brought the young people from both countries digitally, they were connected. We brought young people as speakers, and we had that very informative sharing session where around 500 young people were benefited. My Way, Green Way is a very popular campaign in UNDP Nepal, and we are creating this campaign as wheels of change, where young girls are provided with bicycles so that they can go to the schools and connect it with education and their health as well. So and we do also have one mobile app that is called Greenway that incentivize your ride per km 3 rupees, so that the young people and the daily wage workers would encourage to use bicycles rather than other carbon emission raising vehicles. So till now we have 7,000 plus cycle users in this campaign, and we did have carbon around 57.92 tons of carbon saved out of this initiatives. So and at my personal level, what I think is young girls and ladies should be provided with quality education so that they would be independent, and they live a life they want to live. They fight for their rights. They talk at the table of decision making as equal partners as well. So for that, I always advocate for being independent. And why should girls be independent? In that question, I see that there must be many young girls out of different countries joining this event, as this is a very big forum. I would like to request you to be an independent first, because to live our dreams, we should have that willpower. And being independent doesn't only mean earning; it means achieving your dreams as well. You have so many wishes, right? We are here in the world one time, and we wish to achieve, we wish to have so many things, and for that we need to be independent. And to live our dreams, we should be independent. And second thing is being a supportive hand for the family. If we earn, then we can support our fathers, mother, and then of course whoever the family members is, we can support in the expenses of the family. We can be the supporting hand. And it's of course to be a human before a girl, because if we talk about equality, we shouldn't be relying and being dependent on others. Having said this, and as a young girl, I have faced gender discrimination since my childhood, and I have grown up in a very rural, rural village of Nepal, where discrimination was a part of the community. But I fought for that. I pursued my education. I had to struggle a lot to be the person I am today. And in this journey, I have learned that being an independent, fighting for your dreams, make you the bird that you can fly everywhere you can go. And now I'm a very supportive hand of my family. My parents are super proud of me. I work for the global intergovernmental organization UNDP Nepal, and I'm supporting and encouraging the young people in Nepal to do good, to be a good citizen, and to fight for their rights. So having said this, I would like to encourage all the young girls out there, be the role model of yourself, be the person you want to be. For that, you should have a quality education. And then once you have quality education, then you can run your business or you can work somewhere, and then your freedom will start and you become an independent. So having said this, I'd like to conclude my very short presentation here. And I again apologize for not being able to be in this forum, and wish a very good luck to the entire team for a very success of this event. Thank you very much.
Benita, I really wish she was here. She's such a motivational speaker, sharing her own personal stories. And it would be so wonderful if she was here today, that she could contribute to our following discussions that's happening soon. So I would like to thank all the panelists today for your wonderful sharings and stories. I've learned so much, and I think we keep hearing a few key words in that, I think girls have always been quite motivating, and all we really need is just a little bit of incentive, a little bit of more support. So I'm just so encouraged and motivated by everyone's stories today. But moving straight on to our first topic of being the challenges of being a girl entrepreneur. So I think one of the questions that keep raising up, especially in Asia, is that girls are often not taken as seriously enough, or maybe that they may be considered less experienced by their adult counterparts. Institutionally, young social entrepreneurs might fall into the high-risk category, particularly when they might be assessed by financial institutions. So in this panel, we want to talk about what are ways these issues could be addressed. And I would like to direct the first question to Siriwan's project, because we understand that working with LGBTQIA youth and also ethnic Karen community who are between the borders of Myanmar and Thailand that might be stateless. I think you work on various difficult issues and on top of that, you also have to communicate with a lot of different stakeholders. For example, the youths, the women in your societies, elderly, and also youth collab and potential business partners. So I'd really love to hear from you. How do you overcome or how do you deal with these complexity and challenges while you're working on your project?
ในข้อท้าทายของเรานะคะเราแบ่งออกเป็นอยู่ทั้งหมด3ข้อค่ะ
So I would like to address the challenging that we are faced during running our business.
1นะคะคือกลุ่มเป้าหมายที่เราทำงานร่วมด้วยคือกลุ่มผู้หญิงค่ะ
First, the beneficiary that we are targeted to working with is the indigenous women who are stateless.
ซึ่งเป็นกลุ่มที่เปราะบางถูกละเมิดสิทธิมนุษยชนและถูกกดขี่ทางเพศค่ะ
Our women who are oppressed by the societies face the human rights violation and gender-based violence.
ซึ่งทำให้โครงการเราจำเป็นที่จะต้องเสริมศักยภาพผู้หญิงให้มีความมั่นใจและมีความเข้มแข็งค่ะ
Therefore, we overcome this challenge by empower indigenous women.
และข้อที่2คือกลุ่มเยาวชนค่ะที่เป็นข้อท้าทายของเรา
Secondly, is our group. We are young indigenous people.
แม้เราจะเสริมศักยภาพแล้วแต่เราก็ยังมีข้อท้าทายในเรื่องของเราไม่ได้รับการสนับสนุนค่ะ
Even we are empowered, we be able to do so many things, but we are faced lack of support.
การที่เป็นเยาวชนที่ลุกขึ้นมาทำผ้าทอกะเหรี่ยงนะคะทำธุรกิจเพื่อเปลี่ยนแปลงสังคมเราถูกตั้งคำถามจากสังคมและไม่ได้ถูกได้รับความไว้วางใจ
Even we are stand very strongly to run our business, we questioning by the society, is it possible for girl to run the business?
และเรานะคะกำลังศึกษาอยู่ในระดับมหาวิทยาลัยระดับมัธยมค่ะตอนนั้นทำให้เราไม่ได้รับการสนับสนุนเราต้องสู้ทั้งการเรียนและการทำงานไปพร้อมๆกัน
In addition, all of us are students. I am studying in high school and my team, we are studying in university. We have challenging, we face the challenging. The school and university do not support girl and women.
ซึ่งการที่ทางสถานศึกษานะคะไม่สนับสนุนการทำงานของเราทำให้เยาวชนค่ะที่ลุกขึ้นมาทำงานนั้นทำงานได้ยากมากขึ้น
When we are studying, but at the same time, school not support is make us face a barrier and challenge.
แต่มันไม่ได้แปลว่าเราจะไม่สามารถทำโครงการได้ประสบความสำเร็จค่ะ
But it doesn't stop us. It doesn't mean we can success.
โครงการของเรานั้นพิสูจน์ศักยภาพว่าเยาวชนสามารถที่จะทำธุรกิจเพื่อเปลี่ยนแปลงสังคมได้
We are improved throughout this project that we can run the business, social enterprise, and we can change our societies.
ข้อที่3ค่ะตัวของสินค้าผ้าทอของเรา
The third, our challenging is about our products.
ซึ่งสินค้าของเรานะคะเป็นสินค้าทำมือ 100% ค่ะ
Our product is made by hand.
แล้วสินค้าของเรานะคะเป็นไม่เหมือนกันทุกตัวค่ะเราจึงต้องควบคุมคุณภาพของสินค้าค่ะ
As you know, handmade, unable to copy each other. All of it is different.
แล้วเราต้องควบคุมทั้งให้ได้มาตรฐานและมีความประณีตค่ะ
However, we need to control our quality. We need to make it qualify.
และการที่สินค้าของเรานะคะเป็นธรรมชาติ 100% ทำให้สินค้าของเรานั้นมีต้นทุนที่สูง
In addition, our product is organics. It's made from natural orbit. Therefore, the cost of produce is very high.
ราคาของสินค้าเราจึงสูงมากค่ะ
Therefore, our price, our product's price is very high as well.
และต่อมาค่ะการตลาดของเรานั้นจึงมีข้อท้าทายค่ะ
In add on to that, the challenging in terms of marketing and selling.
ค่ะด้วยสภาวะเศรษฐกิจของประเทศไทยค่อนข้างถดถอยคนก็เลยจับจ่ายใช้สอยน้อยลงค่ะ
As we face that economic crackdown, in Thailand and everywhere, the people spend their money less than before.
แล้วด้วยความที่เป็นเยาวชนนะคะเราไม่เป็นที่รู้จักในของพื้นที่ของสังคมค่ะ
In addition, all of us are young people. We are not really known by the society at large.
เราจึงต้องมี ต้องขอบคุณองค์กรต้นสังกัดของเราสร้างสรรค์อนาคตเยาวชนนะคะที่ได้ให้พื้นที่ที่จะได้โปรโมทสินค้าวางขายสินค้าและได้รับการสนับสนุนด้วยค่ะ
We overcome this challenge by get support from our organization called สร้างสรรค์อนาคตเยาวชนสร้างสรรค์ help us to promote our product to promote our initiatives and that's why we are succeeding
และก็ต้องขอบคุณ Garden of Hope Foundation ด้วยนะคะที่ได้ให้พื้นที่เยาวชนในการโปรโมทสินค้าและได้พูดถึงกระบวนการทำธุรกิจเพื่อเปลี่ยนแปลงสังคมของเยาวชนค่ะ
We also need to thank the Garden of Hope Foundation to providing an opportunity to girls like me and also to promote our initiative as well as promote our business
และเราเองก็ยังได้ทำงานกับหลายๆภาคส่วนด้วยค่ะ
You help us to working with the other stakeholders
ทั้งโรงเรียนชุมชนสังคมและหน่วยงานอื่นๆค่ะ
including our recent coordinate with the local community, school, and also within Thai. We also have you.
ขอบคุณค่ะ
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. And you've managed to bring up your questions so concisely, like as, for example, the age difficulties of having lack of support. And then on top of that, you are still in school and it's really difficult to manage and juggle a business alongside school. And obviously there's the production side as well, having it being handmade and organic. Of course, it would be quite high end on the marketing side. So I'm really excited to learn if Jennifer has any tips on on how we can solve that. But before moving on to Jennifer, I would like Miss Zhihui Yang from the Kaohsiung branch office in the Garden of Hope to also share some perspectives of whilst working with girls, what are some challenges that might erupt whilst you're supporting them on the project? It might be very straightforward that we support girls and then they have once they are more emotionally and ready and prepared, they can move on to a next stage and to explore their interests. But it's not always that easy. It's not a straightforward path. There are ups and downs, and through them exploring their interest, what are some challenges that you, as like an organization who is supporting them, what are some of your challenges that you could share with us?
谢谢提问。
Thank you for your question. I think to work with these girls, we have to have patience because these girls at the beginning, they didn't believe that they can do it. We had to provide a lot of, we have to demo them and to let them believe us, to let them believe in themselves. So during this process, we wait for a lot of time. And during this process, we would encourage them to actually complete their tasks, no matter it's a activity or it's a piece of work. We will always encourage them to finish their tasks, and they can be seen in communities. So that's the encouragement we provide to them, so that they can be seen, so that they can believe in themselves. So usually these girls, sometimes they don't believe in themselves. In addition to that, they have some like mental issues as well. So when we assist these girls and women, these are the situation we face all the time. So those girls we help, they have to live with their mental issues. Sometimes they don't even cure. So during the process, we have to understand that they are mentally ill. So when we provide programs to them and they don't show up, or when they show up, they are absent-minded. So when they are having these situations like this, we will we will not push them. We will just be with them and to be with them during the process and learning things together. And other difficulties is that because we empower girls, a lot of girls thought that they just had to be in home, or many of them are like mothers already. So their partners would think that they don't need to go outside. They just need to take care of their kids at home. So if you go outside, you are actually not paying attention to the family. So we have to teach them how to communicate with their partners, so to lower the obstacles for them to join our programs. Maybe we can provide babysitting services so that they would be able to bring their babies or children with them to our programs. And we have more difficulty situations like those girls cannot come out to our programs because of taking care of babies at home. So if that happens, we have to have patience. We have to try to eliminate the obstacles of them going out to participate in our programs. So time after time, when the girls join our programs and they can learn from different, they can learn skills and enter in the market.
I think you've also made your point really clear in that you really need to be encouraging and accompanying them throughout the journey. And also you brought up difficulties such as mental health. A lot of the girls that were working with girls who maybe have encountered sexual abuse, it is important to acknowledge and accept that's part of them as well. And so having that empathy to be working with them is really important for them to feel accepted and willing to take the next step. And I also think it's really nice that you brought up how some of the challenges that girls face maybe at home, and that's something I think also Sandeep has brought up in India, where it's difficult maybe for women and girls to talk about and also to gain opportunities outside of what they already have. And so you're providing them with knowledge on how they could better communicate with their partners and also with their families. And that's really important for them to continue in the journey of learning. And so I think we're all very excited to learn about what Jennifer might have in mind of how we could approach business models, and also what are some ways maybe that girls maybe from more unfortunate backgrounds, they could also take part in business projects. For example, the Future Makers program, we understand that a lot of youth benefit from this, but potentially it's probably quite competitive to be enrolled in a Future Makers program. So what do you think are some initiatives that girl entrepreneurs could take for their profiles to stand out and land a foot in the program and gain more recognition and credibility amongst businesses?
Thank you. For me, the piece of advice that I would give, it's not just for girls, it's not just for boys, or not just for entrepreneurs, I think just everyone, right? So there's 5 things I'll say. 1 is to be authentic. The second is to be confident. Third, to be self-aware. These aren't in any particular order, by the way. The 4th being positive. And then the 5th, really being knowledgeable about what you do. That's really important. So in terms of authenticity, I think when something's authentic, when it's different, when it's really knowing yourself and being able to portray and project that authenticity. I mean, you are your own differentiator. They always say, you do you best, don't go copy anyone else, just be you. And I think that's really good advice, whether it's for a business creating a product. and really being differentiated. I look at this wonderful picture of Sirawan and her mom, and I do find the product really authentic. I really do want to buy one, by the way. I love the drape. I can picture it as a bed cover for myself. I'm a woman, I like shopping. So I think I'm just shopping now because I really want to buy this. And I saw the dress. The dress is really nice. I think it looked really good on. And then to also believe in yourself. You know, you have to be confident, you have to believe in yourself, because at the end of the day, people perceive you how you project yourself. They say projection is perception. And I think that's really true. So if you're not confident, you know, the person you're pitching to will feel it. So you really have to be confident, authentic. Fine. The third one is to be self-aware. We have to be aware of what we're good at and then keep doing that. We have to be also aware of what we're not so good at and where can we find help to be able to help support us through the things we're not so good at. Where can we find the support? I will use Sirawan and her mom again as an example, because I just think it's such a beautiful relationship, and you can tell that they really support one another. You know, her mom believes in her. Her mom supports her. She's helping her with this translation. She believes in her product. She's bringing it authentically. And because of this wonderful combination of support, I think that's where they've gotten to where they've gotten today. And it's also important then to have that mentor or that coach or that person you can go to when you want to kind of thrash out an idea. So being self-aware of all these things and the people around you too, right? We always talk about in the corporate world, we talk about managing your stakeholders, but I do think it really runs through and rings through for, you know, everyone around your ecosystem. How do we better connect? How do we then get the most of each other? Of course, be knowledgeable, right? To be able to understand what you're selling or what you want to do or your business model, you have to be knowledgeable in that. And finally, positivity, you know, to have that positive vibe, that spirit, that optimism. Positivity draws positivity. And I think when you can project that, I don't know whether the universe is a special world that when you're positive, all of it comes to you, you just keep attracting it. So being positive and being able to see that silver lining, I think will help to achieve the dreams. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think those are really nice advice, and I think it's really encouraging for especially like young girls who could see how Sirawan is grinning so much. So am I. And I think also it's about the professionalism and, you know, being very knowledgeable. I think also for Director Yan's perspective as well, having that knowledge of working with girls in difficult circumstances, like this is so important, and we're so grateful of the work that you're doing, and also branching out to all these exciting and different ways of exploring opportunities with girls. I think that's just super exciting. And so we do encourage participants to be asking questions, joining the conversations if you have any, and we would bring these discussions to the really end at the Q&A panel. So if you have any, please feel free and welcome to use our Q&A at the really end. And also for panelists as well, I think at the end, if we have questions for each other, it would be so exciting. Right, so moving on to our second theme, the matter of accountability and how do we balance and define social impact and success. I think if we look at social enterprise,
那我们如果看这个社会企业的话，尤其是这种女孩为中心的
of solving a problem, but you could also be looking at it as a sustainable business model where revenues could trickle back into the community and support the community with more skills and people in the community with financial independence and autonomy. On the other hand, I think you could also see girl-centric social enterprises as being very encouraging for girls to be participating in community matters and learning about businesses at a very young age. And so it could be a very empowering experience for girls. The two doesn't really necessarily contradict, but I think overall we're bringing back what's the difficult question is, how do you define the success metrics of girl-centric social enterprises? There are qualifiable goals such as revenues generated or maybe participants that took part, but there are also some more difficult measurements that are like intangible outcomes, where, for example, bringing harmony to the community or inspiring young girls in rural communities that they could also be researchers whilst you're on your field trip. And for example, working with families and encouraging their girls to come out of their shells. How do you really quantify that? Or maybe what are other ways where we could present these wonderful results? So firstly, I would like to direct this question to Depisha with her work in the menstruation project. And so you've covered a lot from the production side and also the business side of incorporating women into decision-making board. But also, whilst you're doing your research now, you're understanding the lived experience of menstruation for women in rural Nepal. Some of your success metrics might be easier to measure than others. For example, if you were to, when your product goes live, the sales and the revenues generated. But I think that wouldn't do justice to just all the very wide scale of things that you're working on. So what are you and your team's thoughts on how you could better measure and present some of these results that are maybe more difficult to quantify?
First of all, thank you, Flora, for the question. I think it's a very broad question. Yeah, I'm not sure if I would be fully able to answer it, but I will try. So as our project is a social business model, so for us, like even though we want to make some social impact, at the end, what matters is how are the figures, like how are our sales going and how much revenue we are collecting, because we want to support the marginalized women community, and for to support them, it's important for us that we keep our business running, that we are generating revenues which are able to support their families, and also to fund our awareness campaign, which are like impacting so many lives around Nepal. So I think first of all, like in regards of the quantitative part, it's important like to measure the success rate. It's important that we look at the data, like the sales rate, how much sales we are, like how many pads we are producing per day. And producing is not only like it's not only important, but we also need to create the demand in the market, because as I already shared with you that we are in the market with so many multinational companies that are selling their pads in a very low rate. And because our business model is a very authentic one, it is organic, and and we don't have that much of funding that the multinational companies have. So we have to be in the market, we have to be sustaining the competition. So it's kind of like hard, but that's why like we need to also measure the demand, that what is the demand for our pads. So I think this supply and demand will be the quantitative part of how we can measure the success rate. And also like another part is social impact. So through research, like I have traveled to so many districts around Nepal. Like today I was just making in the map that how much I have traveled across Nepal. And so because right now I'm in the eastern border of Nepal, so I have traveled the whole country. And at the end, like it's really like important that how much lives we are really like changing, like how many women we are trying, like we are supporting through our awareness campaign, and how I am becoming a more role model for themselves and they for me. So I think this is one part, and my time is over. Yeah, so I hope I could answer you.
Thank you so much, Depisha. I always have so much inspiration after talking to you, and I love how you're so realistic with your goals, in that yes, you need the numbers to be able to fund more awareness campaigns, and also I think just being really realistic also by creating the demand as well, because through your research you're learning so much about what are the current scenes in Nepal, and so how could your product better fit for that. And I hope there are ways and solutions that we can bring on great products like this, and to get people in Nepal to be more aware of choosing locally products over, for example, internationally products that are introduced. So I think that would be really nice if we could hear on some perspectives on that. Before moving to hear from Jennifer, let's invite Mr. Sandeep. I think similarly to you, like monetary and numerical results are quite straightforward, but what are like the qualitative aspects for your projects, and how do you like prioritize between the quality over the quantity? Maybe we could have some perspective from your project too. Thank you.
Thank you, Flora. It's a very nice question. I would like to say that we have worked with around 20,000 adolescent girls in last 1 decade. And we can't say we have a formula for successful measuring the project. It's very difficult to measure. Quantitatively, if we talk about, we talk in terms of revenue generally. But if you see the Indian society, it's a patriarchal society, and there are several social issues. Women and girls are always behind the male counterpart. So it is very difficult to come out of that situation. So the confidence level, the decision making, the negotiation skills not at par to drive some kind of some business level. So if we say quantitatively, if you talk about the Samriddhi project, it's a very successful project for rural women. They raise around 45 lakhs rupees in profit. If we talk about girls, how it can be qualitative. So we have 2 programs I have discussed with you earlier, as we have been working with Global Glow, and the first program is Glow Club. This club is comprised of 20 girls, and where we provide girls with a safe space and trusted knowledge mentors to explore topic related to their lives. We help them to build them solve self-advocacy skill, basically how they can communicate effectively within family, within the community, and assert their own interests, desires, needs, and rights. And we prepare them how they perceive themselves. If you ask any Indian girl what you want to be in future, some may say, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a teacher. But what is the path? They don't know how they can become a teacher or a doctor. So how they can perceive themselves. We try to build those thinking key. Where do they want to reach after 5 years, and what are the ways they can reach? So we feel key education is the key driver to bring these girls from this situation, and also they also can make the informed choices regarding their health issues, whether it is physical, mental or emotional skills. And we also think the program basically based on the social emotional learning, where these girls acquire and apply the knowledge, skill and attitude to develop healthy identities, manage emotions and achieve personal collective goals. How they feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain supportive relationship, and make responsible and caring decisions. So how they identify their emotions, how they control those emotions, how they regulate their emotions. This is the first step. If you want to girl be a successful entrepreneur, the first step is let them be confident what they want to be. And our second program is the Girls Solve, and it focus on the critical thinking, problem solving things, adaptability and communication and all those things. So these kind of skill help them to be a businesswoman, an entrepreneur, whatever you want to say. So it's a very long process. It can't be done overnight, and it is very difficult to measure. There are case studies, there are case stories which comes out, and we measure those on the basis of their experience over the years. So qualitatively, you can say that revenue is one of the criteria, but qualitatively, I think it's a long process. You need to
build them, you need to get them confident, you need them to start negotiating with community and all those things. So I think these are the things which can help us to measure the impact of the program and can think how these girls can grow over the period of time. So we have been working with 20,000 girls in last 10 years. So there is not a one formula of measuring the impact of the program. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. I think, like you said, confidence level is something it's probably very difficult to put a value on it. But I mean, over time, gradually, you can see the change that it's bringing in the communities, in the families, in the levels, and also, you know, when I loved how you mentioned about the survey. I think it's very similar to the survey that Standard Chartered also did in Taiwan, where we asked youths about what they wish, what are their wishes, and sometimes there are the wishes, but how do we get there? And so I think that's really where, for example, organizations as yours and also perhaps the Art Garden of Hope and Standard Chartered steps in to support young girls who are amazingly like Takesha and Suriwan today, to be able to get them to places where their products could be better seen and bring the solutions for sustainable development goals. So I think now I would love to hear about what are some from the business perspectives. What are some success criteria that Standard Charters look for in partners when you're collaborating potentially with young entrepreneurs, but also maybe with organizations?
Thank you. We looked at a few things. So one is a demonstrable track record. So do they have evidence? Do these partners have evidence of the impact they have achieved in previous projects? And do they have the ability to measure impact? We also look at good financial health. So for example, do they have 6 months reserves or project expenditure budget around 4 times the grant sought, so they don't become too dependent on a funder. It's also good to understand what partners have learned from other projects and how they will apply it to a proposed new project, you know, the lessons, the good learning, the good practices. On costs, we don't really have a strict rule on cost per head because this varies, right? So it depends on the target audience. So for example, it will take longer, or it might take longer, and cost more to support a young person who is finishing school than to support one from a low income background to secure employment. So that's why we can't put one. And of course, location, you know, cost varies hugely across the 41 markets where we have future making projects. And there's very little data in the public domain on costs of charity or investment. So that's something to look at. We are trying to amass information on costs of different interventions as Future Makers matures. And we'll be able to use this to then judge projects and scrutinize the multiple layers of partners to reduce non-value added wastage and unnecessary management costs. We also want to build long-term relationships. And this means that when we do have these long-term relationships, we reduce costs over time of the benefit we get from learning, reducing startup and getting to know each other costs, and we can plan for the longer term. Target audience, we want our partners to reach low-income young people in our case, especially girls. So we check that they have the capacity and track record to do that. So those are some of the things. Thank you.
Absolutely. I think that's quite clear on, okay, what are some of the goals that we can work on in our projects to be able to potentially work with partners, and also what are some of their interests as well that we can have in mind. And I think after hearing some of our wonderful stories today, Jennifer, I wonder if we could ask you, you know, you notice that a lot of these projects, they are they're intertwined with social, political, cultural, gender, and also like self-identity issues. So hearing from our panelists today, like, what do you think are some of the next steps that, you know, our business models and our wonderful projects could take on?
I always think it's partnerships is all about collaboration and coming together. So, you know, being able to come together as groups and peer review each other's projects, write up the findings, use social media and speaking points to get results and learning. This will help to prove track record. in a low-cost way. So that's one way. We have a partner called Women Win, and we started something which we call the Free Fund with them, Free standing for Financial Resilience and Economic Empowerment Fund. And this targets grassroots women and girls-led organizations with small grants. And yes, other organizations are doing the same. But what we've found is that, existing funds related to COVID-19 response for adolescent girls and young women in particular are always focused on short-term needs. So therefore, when there's a health emergency like this, it does not become an economic crisis for women around the world if we have funds like this ongoing to help support them. The other thing that we'll say is to partner with others to build the above mentioned track record in financial health. As I always say, partnerships, collaborations bring great things. And then also consider approaching funders more with the message, not like how much funding I want or what I need, but more about like, hey, this is the evidence we have to share, or we can help you to achieve your goals because, we know this. So rather than going straight to the funding ask, maybe share what you have. It may not always lead to getting a fund or grant, but it will certainly make you be remembered, So for example, if Depisha, share some of her findings around women in Nepal and this and helping them and supporting them through this menstrual piece, right? Versus saying, I want funding straight away, but maybe that insight will trigger some sort of interest in the partner you want to work with. So those are some of the things that we're looking at. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. I think that's been really on point on how we could work on our projects and what are some things that potential donors might be interested in, ways of approaching them, like we also keep saying, how for girls to be able to come out of their houses, to be able to join programs, it's important that we learn how we communicate with our partners, with our families. And so I think we have gradually come to an end of our wonderful panelists roundtable discussion. And I really would love if everyone could kind of chip in and just share like one final remarks. Shall we start from the beginning with Siriwan?
Wait, sorry. Okay.
ค่ะหลังจากที่ได้ฟังทั้งท่านคนพูดทั้ง4คนทั้ง5คนนะคะตั้งแต่คุณซันดิฟนะคะคุณเจนนิเฟอร์คุณดิพิชาคุณยางแล้วก็คุณเบนิต้านะคะแล้วก็ทำให้เรารู้สึกว่าเรามีความหวังมากเลยค่ะ
After I listening from all of you, Sandeep, Jennifer, Dipisha, Kun Yang, and also Benita is giving me hope.
ค่ะแล้วเราก็ยังมีข้อเรียกร้องนะคะที่จากเยาวชนชนเผ่าพื้นเมืองเพื่อการพัฒนาอย่างยั่งยืนค่ะ
However, I have some demand from the indigenous youth for sustainable development. ค่ะ 1. ครอบครัวชุมชนและสังคมต้องสนับสนุนให้เด็กหญิงและเด็กที่มีความหลากหลายทางเพศให้มีแนวคิดและความสามารถดำเนินธุรกิจเพื่อสังคม Family, community, society must provide and give support to LGBTIQ children and girls in order to develop an idea and also implementation of social entrepreneurial business model that led by girls and also LGBTIQ children.
2. ในบริบทหลายบริบทรวมไปทั้งประเทศไทยโรงเรียนต้องนอกจากจะต้องอบรมเพื่อส่งเสริมเด็กหญิงและเด็ก LGBTIQ ให้มีทักษะชีวิต
In many contexts, including Thailand, school must provide and support LGBTIQ children and girls with life skill training that include
และมีแนวคิดด้านผู้ประกอบการทางสังคมให้กับเด็กด้วย
that includes social entrepreneurial business model
นอกจากนี้โรงเรียนจะต้องไม่เป็นอุปสรรคต่อการเคลื่อนไหวทางด้านประชาธิปไตยและเรื่องของสิทธิมนุษยชน
In addition, school must not be an obstacle of any girl or LGBTIQ who fight defend democracy and human rights.
3. เนื่องจากรัฐบาลมีบทบาทต้องเคารพคุ้มครองส่งเสริมและเติมเต็มสิทธิเด็ก
States, you have the obligation and also mandate to respect, protect, and fulfill children's rights.
โดยเฉพาะเด็กหญิงและเด็กที่มีความหลากหลายทางเพศ
especially to those who are defining as girl and also LGBTIQ children.
ในส่วนของการดำเนินแนวคิดด้านธุรกิจเพื่อสังคมรัฐบาลต้องมีนโยบายและมีการสนับสนุนอย่างเป็นรูปธรรม
Therefore, in terms of social entrepreneurial business model led by girl and young LGBTIQ, I demand state to provide necessary policy and support in order to make it possible and succeed.
4. ภาคธุรกิจต้องเคารพสิทธิมนุษยชนและมีส่วนสนับสนุนธุรกิจเพื่อสังคม
For business sectors, you must respect human rights, but at the same time, you can contribute and support social entrepreneur business model, especially when it led by LGBTIQ, girl, women, indigenous people.
5. ในสำหรับปัจเจกและองค์กรต่างๆที่มีศักยภาพสนับสนุนคงธุรกิจที่นำโดยเยาวชนเด็กผู้หญิงและเยาวชนพื้นเมือง
Last but not least, any individuals or organization you have capacity, I encourage all of you to support business led by women, girl, LGBTIQ and indigenous people.
ต้องขอบคุณคุณเจนนิเฟอร์นะคะที่จะสนับสนุนโครงการของเราและทุกคนที่อยู่ในที่นี้ค่ะสามารถสนับสนุนผ้าทอกะเหรี่ยงสีรุ้งของเราได้โดยการซื้อสินค้าค่ะได้ที่เพจสร้างสรรค์อนาคตเยาวชน
Thank you so much everyone, included Jennifer, who said that you want to support our project. We have so much stuff. Anyone can buy it. Our page. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That was very comprehensive, a lot more than a short sentence. Moving on, we're very short on time because actually our program has already ended. So we'll just quickly wrap up with just one sentence this time. Next, could we please have Deepisha?
Yeah, I have to say that I'm very much inspired by Siwan and her mother. I think they are really amazing, and it's also an example that if girls are supported by their mothers, then they can achieve a lot. And what I learned from the project is as well the sentence that she mentioned was that when women come together, then they are empowered. And I was also very much inspired by Jennifer, who shared that like your business, like her learnings, that it has to be authentic, that we need to believe in ourselves and all this. So it was really helpful for me. And I forgot to mention that the research I was so much mentioning about, it was actually possible with the generous support from the Garden of Hope Foundation. And I would like to thank Garden of Hope Foundation for supporting girl entrepreneurs like me, Siriwan, and giving us this platform to raise our voice. And if there are more organizations like this, then I think it will be so much easier for us to achieve the independence. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We're so honored to have you share your amazing project with us, Deepisha. So as we're very short on time, next we would have Sandeep to quickly share.
It is quite an enriching experience for me, from Sirveen to Deepisha. I basically learn every day. Every day I want to learn and try to implement in my life, personal life as well as professional lives. I think education is the key driver for any girls to be economically independent and socially empowered. So this is my message. Ki India generally girls get early married, or when the girl is born, the question is also how much money we can save for her marriage and all those things. I think we need to change that mentality. We need to think how we can get them educated very well, that she can be economically independent and they can take their decision and can negotiate with. They have informed choices what they want to do. So I think I learned from Deepisha and Siriwan both, and thank you for Jennifer and others for sharing their experience and their work. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Sandeep. We learned so much from you, but hopefully if there are any Indian girls attending today, you can take inspiration from Deepisha and Siriwan with us.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Lastly, would we please invite Ms. Director Yang to be able to share some of your thoughts with us today?
Well, I just simply put that in terms of girls' empowerment, we have to have this grassroots sharing, and it's very touching for today's stories. We really need interdisciplinary team to work together. So we have to create a platform to be able to work together.
Also just, I think, a lot of patience and time as well. And so lastly, could we welcome Jennifer to make the final remarks of the day?
Sure. It's very in line with what everyone said. I've had a wonderful time today, but I just wanted to share that one of our valued behaviors at the bank is better together. And I do believe that when we come together, we collaborate for a common purpose, a common goal, a common cause, we can all achieve great things. So thank you very much for having me. Siriwan, please tell me how I can shop. Is it online? I need a website so I can help and buy one of those wonderful things. And next time we come on the panel together, hopefully I can also wear one. If it's with you, I'll wear it. Thank you.
Thank you everyone today for coming to our panel discussion. We are the Garden of Hope, and today with us we have Siriwan, Tapisha, Sandy, Director Yang, and also Jennifer. We're very pleased to have you all today, and we look forward to meeting you all soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Flora. Thanks a lot. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What fun.
Thank you.